Hi guys, welcome to Chakra Sessions. I'm your host, Polly Jo Labbe, here broadcasting live on YouTube and powered, I guess is the word, by Be Live TV. So welcome guys. Tonight is all about the path of the mystic. And that's a really juicy topic for me because we all have different definitions of the word mystic, or I've run by a lot of people who have different descriptions for mystic. And so it's really honoring, from my perspective, it's really honoring your own personal connection to the divine and how to take time to really encourage and awaken that connection, but also to take time to make your life more about being. It's walking that sacredness as often as you can. And we're here in human land, so how often is it possible? It's okay. It's just every moment that you get that you can realign to that is like really cool and really key. So that's part of my big thing. So hello, Julie. Welcome to the show. Glad to have you here. Love to see the smiling faces. So when I choose topics, it's often without much. I just ask spirit, like, what am I supposed to talk about? And what's interesting is this path of the mystic is coming up when I'm about to embark on this journey. I'm going on a journey for 3 weeks, and in that journey, I'm moving my oldest son from the East Coast to Texas. Hi, Lisa. Welcome to the show. Nice to have you here. So I'm moving him to Texas, and that will be its own journey. And getting him loaded up and heading off and driving down and seeing, parts of the country I haven't seen in a while, and maybe some parts I've never seen, which is cool. And helping him kind of get established and get himself ready, that mama chick kind of energy, just making sure his nest is ready so that he can take flight. And then I'll be off. I'll be visiting my youngest son in Los Angeles area. He and his partner, Maggie, they moved during the pandemic. She got a fabulous job offer that was like amazing, too good to pass up. And so they rapidly moved from Massachusetts to California. And in the midst of COVID. So there wasn't a whole lot Mama Bear could do except, take a deep breath in and hold a lot of space and send angels to keep them safe on their journey. So I'm going to go visit them and see where they landed and have some time with them. And then I'm going to journey up to Napa Valley to visit my dad, who many of you know had just a slight stroke, and we want to make sure, the energetic healer wants to make sure that everything is going properly, and I haven't seen him for a while. So it'll be good to catch up and just see how things are, and then I'll journey my way back to Maine. So it's almost a little hero's journey because there's definitely some transformational work that's going on. I can tell from spirit already. So Lisa's saying Rob saying deep in the heart of Texas. Yes. Dallas is definitely deep in the heart of Texas. He'll be in the Dallas area, which is exciting for me. Because I've always been a Cowboys fan. So to be that close to Cowboys Stadium, I may have to scooch over and give it a look-see. I know the team won't be there, but, maybe they will. Maybe they'll be practicing, but it'll be good to know it's that close. That'll be good. And I'm sure my son will feel like he's coming home because he's big on, spicy spicy foods and loves chili in particular. So he'll be in the right spot. But so, you know, holding the energy of, okay, this is a big transformational, transitional journey that we're undertaking. And there's times when we do all our prep work, we do all our organization, we step into our humanness and get things ready. But at some point, you just take a deep breath and you release and you just allow spirit to have the journey unfold the way it's going to unfold. Thank you. I'm very excited. It's a little bit much because lots of shifting, lots of changing, lots of moving, to have basically everybody kind of has been interesting. But at the same time, everybody's going where their heart has been yearning to be. And to me, that's part of the transformational journey, is to really listen to what's our soul wants to experience next, And so my soul wanted to experience my son's transition, the ending of one chapter, the beginning of a new one, and seeing my other son in his new chapter, and just sensing and seeing how they're flourishing, because that's what I sense, but getting to feel them in their environment as an empath. We like to feel that environment, how it's supporting and wrapping around them, and doing the same thing with my father, being able to be in a place where it's like, okay, seeing how this next step of the journey is for him. When we have a big health scare, there's always often like, this was my life before the health scare and this is my life after the health scare. And it's a new chapter. It's a new normal, which many of us experienced during COVID. So this is the path of the mystic coming up, is those times when, okay, we've done what we can do. Now we just need to be in the energy and let it unfold. And how do we center ourselves in that maybe chaotic energy, or how do we stay grounded? It's something I'm sure you see almost every day. Maybe not as much now. I know during the pandemic, it was like every healer I knew was like, are you grounded? This is how you can stay grounded. Because there were so many people who were anxious about all the shifting and the changing. And so being centered in your heart and being grounded is crucial for managing the huge fluctuations that we can have in our emotions. And in the path of the mystic, it's not experience emotions. You have all of the emotions. It's a matter of, can you experience them and have them maybe not knock you down? Or if they knock you down, you just take a deep breath and you get back up. And so what keeps coming through clearly is we've all had this going on. We've all been working on a new chapter of our lives. COVID created this very clear end of chapter for many people. And maybe that was literal. I know for sure that Julie moved as well as I did, and some of us finished, part of the reason my oldest son is moving is his job ended in the middle of COVID. And he needed a new job. And when he needed a new job, he's like, hey, this is an opportunity for me to look for a job where I've always wanted to be. And he really loves being in the city environment. He loves the multicultural aspect. He loves having all those experiences. And there were a couple places that were really calling to him. And so he looked for jobs in those areas. And of course, we were working remotely initially. And he knew that that would be great. Work remotely with this company. And then when they were getting ready to go back to in person, it would give his family, his friends, time to get used to the fact that he was moving, rather than, okay, I'm moving tomorrow, which is more how my younger son did it. So with my older son, we had a few months of knowing that it was coming. And then about 2 months ago, it was like, I have to be in Texas for August 1st. And so it was like, okay. And my team had told me August, September at the latest. So I was prepared, even if he wasn't. And so as we're getting things ready, there are things that help us realign and stay grounded. Texas needs you, Rob. No, I know Texas needs Jeffrey. And, but it's that energy of, what can we do for ourselves in our self-nurturing? How can we stay on our own path in a grounded way and still listen to what our soul is yearning to do, what our soul is yearning to express next? That's how my team keeps speaking to me about it, is that, we have soul lessons. We're here to learn things. There's certain things that we're here to experience. But lately, my team has been simply talking about, what does your soul want to experience next? So it doesn't have to be some big, crazy, like, dream purpose, because sometimes we get overwhelmed with too much, right? And as empaths, we can get really overstimulated. Our nervous system is so busy reading the energy, reading the room, sensing the emotions, managing our reactions to them, that sometimes we go into overload. And so in the mystical path, it's very much, how do I remember to stay in my own energy field? How do I remember to walk what my soul is ready to walk with, rather than getting worried and anxious and nervous, which is just an indication that we're a little bit out of sync with our spirit. And right now, it's really a big part of our learning process, is to know when we're rushing the energy or we're trying to make things happen, and when we're just doing it and we're just being it. Oh, thank you, Lisa. I'm feeling very soft, glowy. Kuan Yin and I have been really communicating this past week. She's really been coming through and showing me some very soft ways to get things done. We're so used to the masculine energy of, like, that arrow. It's very pointed and it's very linear, and this is the only way. And it can be very jarring for our sympathetic system, but it's very jarring when we are empaths, because we feel in a circular motion, right? We feel our whole 360 degree energy field. And So we don't necessarily want to move in that linear fashion. Sometimes we want to move in the cycle of a spiral, right? And a spiral is more feminine in energy. And so, you know, Kuan Yin, one of the ways she's depicted is with 1,000 arms in all these spaces, because she's able to multitask so brilliantly. And so there have been times that she has come in, especially in this last week, to show me how to multitask. And sometimes the multitasking is to delegate, and learning how to ask in a soft way. um, you know, we're often used to somebody, handing you a list and like saying, do this, do this, do this. And it's harsh and we receive it harshly, but when you can say, okay, here are the things that need to get accomplished. What are you comfortable with? And which things can we share? Which things can you do? Which things can I do, so that all of this gets accomplished? And in that space, what I was noticing is when I'm in that more relaxed circular spiral pattern that Kuan Yin has been helping me remember how to be in, then when one thing gets accomplished, a lot of weight drops. It's not just like a little bit of like, ooh, I checked one thing. It's like this huge weight releases. So it was interesting to recognize that something that might have seemed little, like getting a second printer for my workspace, because trying to print some stuff out in my work office at home and some at my work office at my healing space, it wasn't working. The back and forth wasn't working. My energy was getting pulled in multiple directions. So just the fact that I purchased it, not even installing it, just purchasing it so that it was setting the intention that this is now taken care of, was like huge burden. So what's coming through is like, as we are moving through this next chapter of our life, how can we stay in our heart space? How can we stay centered so that as we walk our life's path forward, number one, we're calling in a lot more joy. And we're de-emphasizing so much of the doing. I've noticed with my clients that there are a number of people who are so in the rhythm of going and doing that the not doing is anxiety producing. And part of that is that people haven't spent enough time in their own skin, in their own spirit, in their own groundedness, to be comfortable with themselves, because the doing has been running away from who they are, and sometimes running away from emotions that may be there. There's been a lot of raw emotional energy that's been surfacing, and as part of that, we activate all of those mechanisms we have for managing our emotions, rather than experiencing them and feeling them. And so when we get quiet and sit with our spirit, we have the ability to allow the emotions to flow through us. And what people often forget, or maybe they never really experienced it, is that when an emotion flows through you, it lasts minutes, if not seconds. But when you allow it to flow through, it rapidly passes. But when we're uncomfortable with what we're feeling and we try to do something else with it, like manage it, we're grabbing a hold with it, we're wrestling it, and all of that keeps us in that sensation longer. And we often store it somewhere in our body where it just gets expressed um, at some future moment in a way that maybe we don't want it to. So that is just one of those ways that, um, when we're in a more solid connection, when we're experiencing life more in um, the way a mystic would, we are just trusting that our soul knows the way. We don't need a map. Spirit knows exactly where we're going and why. And it's okay for us to be uncomfortable. We don't have to love change. We don't have to love that we're in this new chapter. We might have wished to keep more of our old life than we're able to right now. And we will resurrect things that we absolutely loved, that are so in our heart, certain holiday traditions, or making time for those friends that really speak to us, that really connect on a soul level. And we're actually going to let go of things that maybe we just held on to because it was a habit. There are fair weather friends. I learned a lot about that. And there's times when, when you're in a place where you've got too much of your own stuff going on, that you don't have space to be there for somebody else. But that doesn't mean you can't circle back. When you're in a good space, and when you circle back, they may be forward on their path in a different place. So you may not be able to reconnect, but that's okay too. But in the mystical path, it's part of the energy is about not being too attached to the way things are, that things can change in a breath, and that it's when we are hoarding. It's how my team is showing me hoarding. When we're holding on to things too tightly. We know when we're in relationships where somebody's suffocating us, it's hard to stay in there because we can't even breathe. We can't feel ourselves. And, that old saying, if you love someone, set them free. And if they're meant to be, they'll return to you. It's that energy of, okay, if I have to take care of me, and in taking care of me, I'm taking care of the divine, and I'm honoring that I'm a divine being, and that I not only deserve caretaking, but there's nobody better on the planet to take care of me than me. So I'm going to do that. And then when I'm in that place, I can share my love and my light with as many people as I'm able to reach. And whether that's smiling at a clerk at the grocery store, or maybe like remembering that the girl who serves you coffee was about to embark on a crazy trip. My husband and I have our favorite coffee shop that we drive through, and we've gotten to know a number of the baristas who are there. And this one of the young ladies, she was going to see the Van Gogh exhibit that they had, I believe, in the Boston area. And Van Gogh is one of my husband's favorite artists. He loves all the passionate, emotional energy that happened in those paintings. And so he remembered, and he's like, how was it? And she couldn't believe that a customer would remember something that was important to her. And she was so excited about it. And it's being there and seeing somebody else, seeing their joy, honoring their worth. And so in the path of the mystic, it's just being you. And in being that place with you and your connection with the divine, you're just really consciously aware of your surroundings. And, as I have been going through this, deeper connection with Kuan Yin, I've been noticing even more things in my environment. I'm more aware of the wildlife. Not that I wasn't seeing it, but I'm seeing even more of it than I ever did. And I'm seeing the variations, like as we're going past, a forest of trees, noticing that, there's one pine tree in the middle of all of those oak trees. Like, how did that land there? It's that connectedness with what's around you. And in our doing, in the life that we were leading, or many of us were leading, we were so busy doing. We really forgot how to experience being. And in the slowdown, in the isolation, we might have had to sit in our being and maybe more than we wanted to. And it might have been extremely uncomfortable. And if we didn't get to stop doing and we had to keep going because our job kept us going, because I know my job kept me going, and I believe Julie's job kept her going for sure. If we kept going and we didn't get to stop when other people did, then there's this bubble that comes up of like, hey, I need a break too. Everybody got a break. When's my break? And in that place of when is it my turn, that's that old child energy coming forward of being at the playground and you want the chance to play with the ball. But the reality is we all have our own. And we just have to claim it. We just have to take it. We have to ask for it. And part of that is really deep self-nurturing. Kuan Yin keeps speaking about self-nurturing. It's not even self-care. It's self-nurturing. And when you think of the difference between care and nurturing is much deeper. It has so much more unconditional love attached to it. And in that place of unconditional love, when you feel it in you and you embody it, then you shine it and you share it with others, and then they remember that they have their own light. And that's what's so brilliant about the mystical path, is that, number one, we all have it. We all have it inside of us. It's not something that's for a chosen few. We all have that potential. It's just a matter of whether we're choosing it or not. And it's not it's not to reprimand someone for not choosing it, because this lifetime might not be that, which is great, which is fine. Sometimes we're here to get raw and dirty and experience, the depths of something else. But if you're here and you're watching and you're listening, it's that energy of, right, I'm choosing my life. I'm choosing my experiences. And what's the thing you want to experience next? Do you want to experience worry and anxiety and fear? Or do you want to experience curiosity and wonder and exploration and joy? It's completely up to you. And when you're choosing from that place of allowing the unfolding, it doesn't mean that the path is easy. Some people think, well, if I say this many Hail Marys and I do this and I go to confession and I eat fish on Friday or what or I don't eat this on Saturday, it's those are all wonderful things if you're embodying it as a sacred ritual. But if you're just doing it because you're worried about being good or being judged, that's not really the point. The point is to honor your divine being. And sometimes it's like, this is no longer good for me. There are a number of foods, a number of you have heard that before, that I can't eat anymore. I seem to be allergic to a number of things. And when I look at it now, I can go, oh, I'm allergic to potatoes. It's a very strange thing for an Irish girl to be allergic to potatoes, but it happened around my 50th birthday. It just randomly happened. But as part of that, what happened? I absolutely cannot eat fried foods anymore because there's always a chance that it might have gotten mixed in with potatoes. And my doctor for a long time said it might be better if I didn't have fried foods, but it was harder to give up because I loved how they tasted. Well, to have an allergic reaction and anaphylaxis and end up in the hospital, it's like you're not willing to take that chance anymore. And it may seem odd, it may seem silly, but at the same time, it's like, okay, this is no longer healthy for me, so I'm not going to do this. A lot of people choose not to have alcoholic beverages. A lot of people choose not to have caffeine because it's how their body they don't like how their body feels when they have it. And those are all listening to what you need, not what everybody else around you needs. What do you need? What do you want? And on that mystical path, it's how do I want to experience my life? And how do I stay in the moment so I'm actually experiencing it? Are you tasting that ice cream as you're eating it? Are you smelling all the flowers around you when you walk through that garden? Are you seeing the wildlife right around you? Today, there's a mama turkey who likes to walk in between the houses here. And I've seen her for months. She does this particular path. She likes to go on her daily stroll, and I love seeing her. And she walks down Dear Wanderer Lane. And I find it amusing that we have a turkey that likes to walk Dear Wanderer Lane. And there's been some babies that have been born. And so today I saw 2 mamas and a teenager turkey, and then 7 little babies all walking. And they were just taking their time and enjoying the stroll. And I'm not sure that any of my neighbors saw them taking their stroll. But what a joyful experience it was, because I happened to have my window open and was working with a client and saw them take their walk. And it was very symbolic for what was happening with my client at the time as well. And so those coincidences, those synchronicities we miss when we aren't paying attention to ourselves and our spirit. And when we walk the path of the mystic, it's not a better than, less than. It's just choosing that in this moment, I'm going to walk with my intuition. I'm going to walk with my spiritual team. I'm going to walk with my inner child. And I'm just going to do the best that I can in each and every moment. And sometimes, the choices are difficult. And sometimes we can still have experiences of overwhelm or anxiety. It's just a matter of our team letting us know that we're overstimulated and maybe we need rest and maybe we need to learn to say no better and maybe we need to let something go, because in the end, does it matter? And that can be hard for us mamas who and gentlemen, who are used to doing a bunch of things, juggling a lot of things. And the one thing that we've been learning in this past year in particular is how to slow down and pay attention and be aware. Not everybody is awakening. Not everybody is seeing. Not everyone is becoming conscious because they don't want to right now. It's not part of their soul's path. But that doesn't mean that you can't. And it doesn't mean that you're a pushover, and it doesn't mean that you're not going to get things done. I've moved twice. I've restarted a business. I'm moving another son. I get a lot done. But I also have a lot of time to be in my center and be aware. And time to allow spirit in. The inspiration that comes in when we allow spirit to come in. Creative new ways to do things. Maybe you'll think of a way to do things easier. Or maybe you'll realize that, you and two of your neighbors all need to go grocery shopping and, maybe you could do it together. Or maybe you could just, this person goes here and you go there and everybody gets taken care of. Who knows? But maybe there's some creative solutions that have never dropped in because you've always been too far in front of it for spirit to catch up. I know that's what happens to me sometimes. Rob says I play bingo every Wednesday. I miss bingo, actually. That sounds pretty funny. Because bingo was something I would do with my grandmother. My grandmother went to bingo twice a week generally. And it was for fun. It was for socializing. It was for seeing people. And it was less about the money. But whenever my grandmother needed something in particular, she just made it clear to her team, to God, however she would think of it, that, okay, today's the day that I need to win. And not that she had to win all of it. She was very specific. But anytime there was a major appliance that died, I remember her washing machine dying. And I remember her oven going one time. And she's just like, all right, I expect the money for this. I'm going to keep doing things the way I've always been doing them. I'm going to go to bingo, but I expect this money. And always within less than a week, she had what she needed. When she needed her washer, she actually was able to get a washer and dryer, and she'd never owned a dryer before. And when she needed her oven, they had enough left over to get new recliners so they could enjoy their news and Wheel of Fortune with their feet all kicked up. So it's very cool. And I love Rob says, as long as you don't let your babies to grow up to be cowboys. Well, apparently, that's going to happen. But it's okay, because it's not my job to speak to that, I guess. It's, as parents, there's that moment where, they're chicks and we're herding them along. And then there's times where it's like, okay, it's time for you to go and do your thing. Doesn't mean they're not still going to be your babies. They definitely are. But, there's times where you're just like, okay, they're on their path. they're doing their next thing. And they know where to find me, right? Or they know where to find us if they need us. And we'd be there in a hot second because that's just how we roll. So what we're going to do for our healing meditation this evening is to just really reconnect with our spirit. And we're going to open the possibility that, if there's a next step that our soul would like to take, that it will drop into our awareness, whether it drops in during our meditation or, as soon as we're ready to receive it. We're just going to make space for that to drop in. And that way we can experience that mystical way of being, and see how we like it and whether we want to continue it. Because I find that it really reduces my stress when I just allow stuff to unfold. I'm clear about what I want, and often when I want it, but the how, they can take care of that. All right, so let's take a couple of deep breaths. I'm going to invite you to welcome in the divine in your spirit to connect to you and through you. Inviting our energy to really come back into the present moment. And to feel the present moment, you may sense your hara line, your crystalline tube that runs through the center of your body, connecting you to the divine above and the divine energy below, the masculine and the feminine flow, circulating through. And just feeling it in the center of your being. And asking the divine energy to create a sacred space for us to experience this healing and this being reconnected to our beautiful spirit in its fullest and brightest and highest vibrational frequency. Really welcoming in our spiritual teams, so they can connect to us, helping guide us and send us messages and moments of inspiration and knowing. In the fullness of our being. And just welcoming in the balance in all of our energy centers, inside and around us. Sending healing to any parts of our body where we may feel discomfort, tightness, dis-ease of any kind. And allowing that energy to radiate out through each of the layers of our aura, strengthening our sense of self while expanding into the fullness of our being. Lovingly embracing our inner child to feel the comfort and the safety that comes from the experience of knowing. And now activating our connection to the mystic within, and the path that our mystic would like to walk through our hero's journey, through our life's choices, experiences, and connecting deep within to see, to know, and to understand what our soul would like to experience next. And helping our energy to breathe comfort to anything that feels unknown or uncomfortable. Breathing love and light into any change that we may have experienced or will experience. And calling on the divine connection that serves our highest potential. So that we may remember the loving guidance, the gentle nudging in the direction of our soul's journey. And just taking a moment of gratitude to our spiritual team, the divine, and even our own spirit being centered and grounded within us in this moment, reminding us that sensation so that we can carry it forward when we need it. And taking a moment to send healing energy to those in need, those who have asked for assistance for their highest benefit and harm to none. And taking a couple of deep breaths and returning your energy to the present moment, to your physical body, feeling the weight of your legs and your body on your chair, your connection. And gently stretching, yawning, whatever you need to reconnect into this moment. Wonderful. Thank you guys for being on that journey, that expansion, that reactivation. It's sometimes easier to remember how to connect to your spirit when we're in a group. It's sometimes very difficult to do on your own. And that's part of why my team has been so adamant about doing these shows. It's about helping people when they're in that place of need and they're reaching out looking for help. And the healing meditations are really a transmission of healing energy that your soul knows is there waiting for you to recharge your battery. And it's lovely to help by having it be there for you when you need it. That's really important. So if you're, interested in any of my services, learning about how to really walk the path of the mystic, which is what we teach in depth at my school, which is Trinity Mystical Energy. And some people just take a few classes or come and do some healing or get some, crystals or oils to help them on their journey. Whatever you're called to, that's fantastic. And I enjoy that. And thank you, Rob, for sharing the link. I also want to let people know that tomorrow on Friday, I am doing a full moon ceremony. And it's a more private ceremony, but you are welcome to join. The link is in the broadcast. He just put it in the description. And to join into the full moon meditation, you just click on the link and it takes you to PayPal to register. And then I'll send you the Zoom link. We do a healing meditation, not only to align your chakras and release, but to call in the energy of the full moon. It has its own particular vibration and strand, and we intertwine it with your masculine and feminine energy to really anchor in that healing. And it stays active for the whole moon cycle. And we do a ceremony to release anything that you're ready to let go of and to manifest anything you would like to bring in. We do a ceremony for those two things. And then afterwards, I do individual card readings. So it's a nice, wonderful little intimate group. And I'm going to start doing it on a monthly basis. I used to do this in person in Massachusetts. And when I moved to Maine, COVID hit. So it was, how do we realign? And my soul has been missing that connection to the energy of the full moon and what it helps awaken for other people in their own healing process. So we're going to do it online. So if you would like to join us for that tomorrow night, you can just register by clicking on the link. But if not, I will see you in 3 weeks. We will be on hiatus because I will be traveling, but I will be back in person on, I think, let me see. I will be back on the 19th of August. Thursday the 19th, I will be back. And Soul Connections will be back as well. But we will be back on the August 22nd. So we will see you guys soon. Have a nice time, a nice vacation. And remember, you can still turn back into Chakra Sessions. Look us up on YouTube or go to the Trinity Mystical Energy YouTube channel, and you can watch the replays, because anything that calls to you for healing, even if it was done years ago, there's the vibration of healing is still moving forward. So your soul knows where it needs to go. Just listen. So thanks again for being here with me and helping me with my spiritual purpose and my spiritual person, I guess, to heal the healers. And with that, you guys, mwah, I'll see you soon. Bye.